Good morning. It is a beautiful day to make a banana bread. Not just any banana bread, a chocolate marble banana bread. I made this last week as a trial and it was a winner. So we're gonna make it again because I need banana bread every single day. I need to eat it every single day. I don't know why. This recipe is going to be completely dairy-free, gluten-free, refined, sugar-free, as minimally processed ingredients as I can find because I prefer to make my recipes as clean as possible. Do not be threatened by the lack of wheat and dairy. It is still going to be absolutely delicious. Let's get started. By the way, I'm rocking this new sweater that says wellness because I'm a wellness girly. Set me back about almost $200. It is, by the way, still very hot this September in California, but I wanted to wear this so badly that I'm just gonna sweat it through and it's gonna be fine. I did want to share my little morning cocktail I have going on here. I am just getting in the habit of taking greens in the morning and also trying to remember to take my Cycle Balance herbs because you may or may not know I'm trying to get my period back after being on birth control for 8 years. So the greens are more for like just making sure I get my baseline amount of veggies every single day, but then I just add 3 dropperfuls of this to my greens, and this is like the easiest way I can remember to take both. And this one by JS Health tastes really good, so I'm just gonna add some ice to this. So just give this a little stir. Doesn't taste bad at all, honestly. Oh, and this one also has collagen, so. Okay, now let's really get into this banana bread. The recipe I'm going to use is my mom's, but I just added a few modifications to it to make it, as I said, more clean, and it is absolutely delicious. The one thing I will note about baking with gluten-free flours is that you can't really expect your breads to rise as much as normal gluten wheat flours because it just doesn't have like a specific binding agents that make it like really puffy. That does not detract from the flavor. It will still expand a little bit, but just wanted to let you know. Okay, first step, I'm going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. The last time I made this recipe, I doubled it basically. So I made like a normal loaf and a chocolate loaf and then combined them, but that was gigantic. So I'm just going to do like a 1.5 of this recipe. So like 1.5 it. The normal recipe calls for just 3 very ripe bananas. And since I am 1.5ing it, I'm going to do another banana and a half. You must use very ripe bananas. If you use bananas that aren't brown like this, brown and soft and like almost mushy and like almost bad, the flavor just isn't the same. I also do my very best to buy all organic foods, but if there's one fruit that is generally safe, bananas are one of the fruits that you can buy non-organic, and it's not going to be as bad as other fruits because of the peel. If you want to start eating more organic but you can't afford to buy all organic, bananas are one of those fruits that are generally safer to eat that are not organic. We're just gonna mash these up, and basically in this bowl we're just going to add all of the wet ingredients. Next we're going to add 3 eggs. Original recipe is just 2 eggs, pasture-raised eggs, of course. Happy chickens make better eggs. To keep this recipe dairy-free, I love Miyoko's unsalted butter for baking. It works fantastic for me. The only time it doesn't work is when I'm trying to make frosting. So in case you ever need to make frosting with vegan butter, it's not the move. It's made out of cashews, so it's like soy-free. Just all around the best dairy-free butter I have found. Let me go melt this really quick. And in the wet mixture, I'm also going to add sugar. And so the sugar I'm going to use for this recipe is coconut sugar. Coconut sugar is unrefined, and I have an organic one. Just get this from Whole Foods. It has a lower glycemic index than table sugar, which means that it's less likely to spike your blood sugar, which we love. Add our butter in. Banana bread is one of those things that my family has always made, or my mom has always made. And so when it became popular during the pandemic, I was like, you guys aren't already making banana bread? Like, I obviously know that banana bread is one of the best desserts, treats, whatever, breads, whatever you want to call it. I've been knowing. My mom's recipe truly is the best I've ever had. My recipe is also very good, obviously, just a little tiny bit healthier. There's going to be banana chunks in this wet mixture unless you use a food processor to really like get all the chunks out. I personally don't mind the chunks. If you hate chunks, you should definitely use a blender or a food processor to blend your bananas. For the flour, I am going to be using gluten-free oats and then blending them up. I love oat flour. It's just so versatile, and it's really easy to have a bunch of oats just like in your kitchen. You can make protein pancakes with them. You can make banana bread with oat flour. Easy peasy. I may have mentioned this before in a previous video, but baking is more of a science, so there is more measuring that needs to be done with baking, but truly you still have loads of freedom to experiment. I personally experiment and change up like every single recipe I come across, and it usually turns out well. And then if it doesn't, then you just know, okay, next time I'll just stick to the recipe. In the beginning, when you're starting out baking, just follow the recipe, and then once you start to get comfortable with not measuring every ingredient to a T, then feel free to just do whatever. It's all gonna be fine. So I have the flour, baking powder, baking soda, and then I just need salt and cinnamon. I am still a pink Himalayan salt girly, so you can also use kosher salt. That's probably the more popular baking salt. Actually, I'm not gonna add the cinnamon just yet. I'm gonna mix this up first, and then I'll add the cinnamon to the non-chocolate banana bread. Like, banana bread is just so easy to make. I don't know if you can tell, but this is an easier recipe to make. If you're new to baking, this is definitely a recipe you can go for. I'll definitely post my mom's original recipe and my recipe in the caption, so you can kind of choose whatever direction you want to go. I'm going to pour the entire mixture into the dry, and then I'm going to separate the mixes out and add my cocoa powder to the half that needs the cocoa. The way I think is, how many less dishes can I create for myself, and how can I make it easier? So that's what we're trying to do right now. I like to gently fold the flour in. I'm gonna mix this until it's all the way combined and there's no more like dry little pockets. That might be all right. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like, I think that's fine. So we're just gonna leave it. It's gonna be fine. I will add cinnamon to 1. I don't know why that was such a hard decision for me. I get comments all the time on my TikTok like, why can't you just eat the original version of whatever you're recreating? Like, why do you have to make it healthier, yada yada yada. The reason that I like to make recipes cleaner and that I don't just have a Twix, I make myself a healthy Twix, is because my body can definitely take a Twix. Like, I can eat a Twix and that's fine. But what if I want to eat a Twix every day? Eating a Twix every day is not exactly the epitome of health. If I can make a version of a Twix that I can have every day and my body isn't going to be mad at me that I've been eating it every day, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a healthier version so that I can. So it's actually the opposite of limiting myself. I'm actually getting to eat more of what I love through making a healthier version of myself that isn't going to make me get bloated, painful stomach aches, acne, which is freaking massive, you know, that isn't going to have toxic chemicals in it. That's my whole deal. We're gonna add the cocoa powder to this one. I am actually using cacao powder. Cacao is less refined than cocoa powder. You might not get as deep of a dark brown like look to it, but it still tastes fully like chocolate. I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup. This is what our batter with cacao powder is looking like, and then this is the normal batter with cinnamon. So you can tell like this one's a little bit darker, but it's still not going to be like that rich dark brown because we're using less refined ingredients. Here is our baking dish. I just sprayed it very thoroughly with avocado oil spray. I'm going to attempt to pour them both at the same time so they kind of like fill 2 sides of the pan. Okay, this might work. Okay, yeah, we're doing it. Oh, that worked beautifully. See, you can tell I poured that in exactly how I wanted to, and now I'm gonna try and swirl it a little bit. Kind of swirl it just a little bit. Okay, in you go. And so I'll bake this for about 50 minutes and we'll check on it after that. Banana bread is done. She looks gorgeous. So we're gonna let her cool for probably 15 to 20 minutes, 20 if I'm patient, but she's looking gorge. It took me about 55 minutes to bake at 350. I cannot wait to dig in. I learned this trick in New York from when I went to this restaurant called The Butcher's Daughter. They have one here in LA too. But basically they made this like ricotta espresso cream that they like spread on the banana bread, and it is absolutely heavenly. So I'm gonna make my own espresso cream. The first time I made it, I did use vanilla yogurt. You can also just use regular ricotta. I wish I had vegan dairy-free ricotta, but when I went to the store, they were out of it for some reason, so I'm going to use Miyoko's dairy-free cream cheese. I'm grinding up some espresso beans from Chamberlain Coffee in my handy-dandy grinder. That looks to be enough. Just going to add some of the cream cheese. I'm gonna add about this much. Can you see? So that's gotta be like over a tablespoon of espresso powder. I'm just gonna add like a teaspoon's worth. We'll start with that. I'm gonna start whisking it. Here's what it's looking like. Honestly, I've tried it. I like the cream cheese, but I think using ricotta cheese will definitely be better. I transferred it to a board, and I'm gonna have an edge. George! I'm gonna have an edge piece. So let's just, oh my goodness. Okay, there she is. It's kind of dark now because the sun went away, but you can kind of tell this is like the chocolate or the cacao part, and then this is like the normal part. This is the loaf. Yeah, the lighting just got really crappy, so I apologize about that. This is the espresso cream. Just spread some on like that. And this is totally optional. You do not need this espresso cream, but I found that it brings such a fun like flavor to the banana bread. There we go. That looks so good. Okay, let's give this a try. I'm just gonna break this off. Tastes so good. Gosh, I am so into the chocolate. I hate to say it, but I might like it better than the normal side. because the chocolatey flavor of banana bread, it just, well, it might be because I'm a chocolate kind of gal. So if you don't like chocolate, that's not going to be for you. But oh my god, if you like chocolate, chocolate banana bread is like, I've been missing this for my life. I can't believe it. Alrighty guys, that is going to be the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching as usual. I am so happy to be back to uploading regularly. It's only been 2 weeks in a row, but hey, that's regularly 2 weeks in a row. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week.